talk a little bit about electricity use. A lot of this electricity use is directly related to the pollution. There's other, practical issues. The fact that there's a huge draw of electricity means that there are going to be increased costs for individuals. And so we have finite power grids, right? That's an important thing to understand, is that there's an existing infrastructure. There are power lines, there are transformers, there's all these things that exist in society that regulate electricity. And if you build a giant thing that's sucking a bunch of that energy away, then that's no longer available in the same proportion, and that can overload these systems. You can run out of power, you can have brownouts, you can have blackouts, you can have other issues when the grid is overpowered. And not only that, but electricity is usually priced with sort of demand style pricing. And so the more it's in demand, the more it's going to cost you to have your own electricity. That works sort of in what we call a regressive tax type way. The idea being that, whether or not you're rich or poor, there's not going to be a huge difference in the amount of electricity you use most of the time. And so if you're poor and your electricity bill goes up, that represents a higher percentage of your overall income that's disappearing. And if you're rich and your electricity goes up, that's a lower percentage. That's a regressive tax. It affects poor people more than it affects rich people. And similarly, when we talk about grid failures, which is a very real concern, then you have to think about the practical implications of that. That means that there's no heat in winter, there's no refrigeration, there's no cooling in summer. And a lot of these issues are, on an individual level, they are an inconvenience. But you have to understand that from a population level, from a public health perspective, these types of things are not inconveniences. There are vulnerable people who will die without them. There's always a certain number of people in the population, perhaps they're old, they're frail, they're already dehydrated or at risk or sick for some other reason, and then suddenly they have no air conditioning in the middle of a hot summer. Those people could die. And that's not going to be most people, but many people are at risk at that level. Similarly, lack of refrigeration, lack of just being able to see in your house, if you're already vision impaired, this will kill people.